Morgan Stanley. I talk about Wall Street South in Florida, which is very real. Every private equity company, big bank, investment firm, they're all here, private equity firm. I love that Morgan Stanley has more employees in your state than New York. That cracks me up.
Well, so it's not just Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan. All of these big banks that exist in New York, operationally, they have more personnel in the state of Texas. And I got to tell you, there's more and more business moving to Texas, whether it be in Austin or Dallas. Sean, we now have created the Texas Stock Exchange. It's in Dallas, Texas. It added such competition to the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ Stock Exchange. Both of those two had to set up a regional headquarters in Dallas, Texas, where they are trading and listing in Dallas, Texas. In fact, SpaceX, you know all about that. And by the way, Texas is the home of the first trillionaire in the history of the entire world, in Elon Musk. Anyway, SpaceX co-listed on the NASDAQ as well as NASDAQ Texas. And so Texas is becoming the #1 state for new listings of all public companies in the United States.
You don't get enough credit in terms of what you deserve and how hard you've worked. By the way, there is a day coming up. Governor Abbott will be filling in and hosting this show. I think that's confirmed, Governor. I'm looking forward. I know the audience would love to hear from you, and you get to interact with them directly.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Governor Greg Abbott, the great state of Texas. God bless Texas, sir.
Thank you.
Now, from America's Revolution.
Head over to Rumble. I'm about to go premium only on the way home.
You know, we are nations that have had moments where
I want to see if you guys are both premium members. If not, I'm going to add you.
Clarity or resolve, and thank God freedom endures. In October 1985, it was President Ronald Wilson Reagan who delivered these remarks about America's commitment to stand with Israel. He said, "In our talks, we paid special attention to two issues: our commitment to Israel's security and well-being, and our shared desire to move forward towards a just and lasting peace between Israel and all of its Arab neighbors." IFCJ, one word.org. It'll send you a free U.S. Israeli flag pin.
It was a pain in the butt getting those
for your
cameras mounted.
When we come back, more of
But
the
we got her
the
done.
Sean Hannity Show. Stay tuned.
He's still alive.
Crank up a channel filled with the rock dads can't
What the fuck you
resist.
look like, dude?
Songs that'll have them drumming on the steering wheel. And shouting, hey, listen, this is the good part. Dad rock. Listen now through Father's Day. Channel 300 on most radios. Year-round in the Sirius XM app. Included with most subscriptions.
97? Holy shit.
Racked up huge debt.
That's a bit verm.
For a degree he couldn't
Too warm for me.
I had a friend that went to my computer career. They even helped him get
I must be
hired
letting his whole
after
family in. Look
graduation.
at this. He's holding the door for everybody.
You can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Yeah, Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. He was in great health. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. And super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance.
I had to fix a couple
After
things.
he passed away, he was still
Yeah,
able to provide for my mom. And of course, by extension, my brother and I. This is why I have life insurance. My dad had life insurance. So after he passed away, he was still
Fuck.
I have to take the ligament back to it. It's called a Jones fracture. It's on the outside of my foot.
for $2 a day. That's a 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoker.
Wings, yeah.
We don't like to talk about death in our
We
culture,
had
but
Cajun dust,
you're going to die.
dry rub,
Get life insurance
some
for
blue
10 days
cheese.
so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/rate.
Not bad.
Rates may vary, go monthly.
Probably the cheapest place around here.
Rate.
Imagine having complete clarity about your health, not just test results, but a clear plan.
Because it's Pride Month.
Lab tests are easy to
Why are you on YouTube?
True peace of mind comes from understanding what they need and what to do next. At Princeton Longevity Center, we go beyond testing to deliver clarity.
I just thought it was funny.
Physician-led care designed to help protect and extend your life. Our patients work directly with board-certified physicians specializing in preventive and longevity medicine, not algorithms.
And they didn't put the thumbnail up I wanted.
Your history, your risks, and your goals. Yes, we use advanced imaging and comprehensive diagnostics.
So I'm gonna change it.
What truly matters is what comes next. We interpret the results, connect the dots, and deliver a physician-led personalized plan you can act on with confidence. Because information alone doesn't change outcomes. At Princeton Longevity Center, your care doesn't end with a test. It begins there. Call 888-8000-PLC or visit PrincetonLongevityCenter.com. That's 888-8000-PLC.
This is professional golfer Mark O'Mara. You've heard me talk about Celebrity Greens, a company that builds championship-level synthetic putting greens at the homes of amateurs and professional golfers all across North America. Celebrity Greens is known for their
side dishes. Yeah, they have some decent, nice side dishes.
Amazingly high-quality installations. Their greens look great and perform like natural greens that I've played on my entire career. Now, Celebrity Greens is looking for additional sales and construction partners. If you're in
no worries.
synthetic turf business or
Everybody else is over in Rumble. Come join us. Join us.
Currently expanding across North America, and they will be opening new markets soon. And if you're an avid golfer wanting the convenience and beauty of a custom green or a beautiful,
there we go. We fixed the thumbnail.
Backyard, you should call them too.
Yes, they have mac and cheese.
1-888-507-7960.
That would be a question the wife would also ask.
Celebrity Greens, redefining private
Thank you.
all across North America. Visit them online at CelebrityGreens.com. Celebrity Greens.
Donate your car and help support Tunnel the Towers. The process is quick and simple, and the proceeds from your
what a pain in the butt getting those cameras up on that pole with zip ties and double-sided sticky shit.
And we will pick it up for free. So if you have an extra car and you want to help T2T to help our
here, I'll drive through.
And our dedicated
set off the cameras just to make sure that they're working.
844 Bravus. Avoid the hassle trying to sell that old car. Instead, donate it to help Tunnel the Towers. That number again to donate your car and support Tunnel the Towers is 844 Bravus. That's 844 Bravus.
I'll show you guys. I did one inside. That one was easy.
Your car donation really does make a difference. So call Tunnel the Towers today. 844 Bravus.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and
just worried about running over shit back here.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15.
There's the cameras right there.
Intro rate first 3 months only.
Strapped to the pole. Oh, set it off. The light came on. Good. How about this one? All right.
You are listening to the best of the Sean Hannity Show.
Exposing the Pelosi party's chaos and corruption all day, every day. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
Let me go back, and I know there's been so much commentary as it relates to the issue of the Memorandum of Understanding, and I've read it, I see it, I see the Iranians, hardliners, they hate it. Some conservatives think that is going to be the final deal. But then I listened to this guy, and his name is President Donald J. Trump, and I don't think this memorandum has anything to do with the president having spoken to him and his demands as relates to nuclear issues, the Strait of Hormuz, or future engagement with Iran. And he's saying it out loud, contrary to the memorandum. And I guess some people put more faith in a memorandum just to get this thing going over what the president is saying directly to we, the people. Let's play the president. I let him know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to say I'm going to take you to court? Let me take you to court. Let me sue you. No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement. We are going to bomb the hell out of them. Let me just make a simple observation. I don't think the guy that wiped out the ISIS caliphate, Soleimani, Baghdadi, dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan, the guy that dropped 14 bunker buster bombs in, taking out Iran's nuclear facility, and the guy that wiped out pretty much all the defenses with Epic Fury is really going to change his mindset at the end of the day if he deems it's in America's best national security interest to finish him off. That's my take. Anyway, what's Jim Jordan's take? He is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Sir, great to have you. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe is it me? Is it I take that memorandum at face value as a means of just starting the negotiations, which already are deeply underway and have been underway for some time.
Trying to make sure everybody who's here is got.
Well said. This president does what he said he was going to do. I still remember last year his joint address to Congress when he said, people said, "Oh, you need a new law to secure the border," and he goes, "It turns out all you needed was a new president." And because he told us he was going to secure the border, he did. He told us he was going to make sure Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon, and he's committed to doing that. And he said,
LVA, you still here?
So that we make sure that happens, then we're going to take the consequences will be there. So, this president makes decisions that are in the best interest of the United States of America. I mean, he does. And he understands where we're at. He understands this disagreement, and he's going to hold them to it. And if they don't hold to it, well, there's going to be consequences, just like you said, and just like he said.
My question is, why do people not listen to his actual words or look at his past actions and come to different conclusions? That part is a little alarming to me, and I guess maybe I'm on a bit of an island myself because I also spoke to him, spoke to Witkoff.
Oh yeah, but I just wanted to make sure. Once again, it's another wasted stuff.
Take on all of it, and how
if he was here, he would have gotten it right away.
We will know a lot more in 60 days.
Well,
if we make 60 days, I don't think the president would hesitate 2 seconds if he felt that, okay, they're up to no good, we can't trust them, okay, they need to be bombed again. When he bombed them twice last week and then threatened it would be worse the third night and then said, I think I'm going to take Khark Island, that apparently got the attention of every Iranian, and they were reaching out directly to him.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. And never forget what he did last year with Operation Midnight Hammer. I mean, no president, we all know how bad this regime has been for 47 years. We know what they've done to Americans, killed Israelis, killed others, killed thousands of their own people. We all know how evil they are.
Looks like everybody else is a premium member.
Them from getting a nuclear weapon. And so President Trump said, we're going to go with Midnight Hammer. What they did was amazing. And then he said, oh, you're building up your ballistic. We're going to do that too. Take out your Navy, take out the Air Force. He did all that.
There you got it. Good.
Was willing to do it. And now the left, who just always criticizes anything and everything he does, are going at him again. And it's again, I think you're exactly
I need
right.
the premium time.
Let's switch to
12. We'll just do premium at night.
He said he cut taxes. He did. Said he took care of the border. He did. First term said he put conservatives
South Point Buffet.
3 of them, for goodness sake. So this guy keeps his word,
and
he told the world, I am not letting Iran get nuclear capability, and I believe he's determined to make sure that happens.
South Point
and now we have this memorandum of understanding. I think, 14 points. We'll go through it, and if they don't adhere to it, he's going to...
In Vegas, you mean?
By the way, the president he was quoted in Israeli media, Channel 14, with correspondent Libby Alon, saying and confirming that the U.S. would absolutely back Israel if it launches an independent attack on Iran. So, I mean, the president really hasn't changed his position at all. I think this is a starting point that has already started that most people are not aware of. And, I guess the question is, do people have faith in him? Do they watch his actions and listen to his words, or are they all hung up on that issue? Of course, the president is going to support the right of Israel to defend itself. When he says that Bibi just please act responsibly,
there used to be a bunch of them. Now there's only a couple left.
You don't have to, but if it means Lebanon, if it means Beirut, if it means that
they're like $100 a person,
they have to defend themselves, the president has repeatedly said he'd support it.
Which is great, and that is exactly the right position. Israel's our best friend. We need to do that. No president has been a better friend of Israel than President Trump, and I so appreciate that. I appreciate what the Israeli country, the miracle that is the nation of Israel is truly special. So yeah, we want to support them in every way we can. And this president has the real concern when it comes to Israel is the Democrat Party and the crazy anti-Semitic, anti-Israel positions they've taken. For goodness sake, it is scary. The once great party of FDR and JFK is now becoming the anti-Semitic, anti-Israel party, and that is frightening. So let's make sure none of that element creeps into our party.
Well, all-inclusive means it should be paid for. So
I'm getting involved with around the country.
So you just want to order off the menu?
This president has been of the state of Israel.
That's expensive.
No,
you get an all-inclusive package. That's expensive.
These are historically unprecedented times politically. I can't think of a midterm election cycle that we're heading into where the Democratic Party has latched on to the most extreme elements imaginable. For example, Hassan Piker, America deserved 9/11. Israel doesn't have a right to exist. This guy's campaigning with this guy, El Sayed, in Michigan, going up against Mike Rogers. I would say that's a big opportunity for Republicans for a possible pickup in the Senate. You got Graham Plattner. All the, as the president said yesterday, 10 years they've been calling him a Nazi and a fascist and Gestapo, and now they have a real Nazi, running in Maine with a Nazi tattoo that attacked a soldier, a hero, and said he didn't deserve to live. And we learned this week that he went after a teenager who was threatening suicide and attacked this young teenager. He's made racist comments. He's blamed sexual assault and rape victims. He calls the voters in his own state stupid and racist. He's made racist comments and has this proclivity that he can't pass a porta potty without pleasuring himself. How does that guy win? How does cisgender Tellerico win in Texas? The guy that advocates for abortions for the trans community, men and women's sports, God is non-binary, a non-meat campaign, and he's against drilling, and he's running in Texas. How does that guy win?
Yeah, I don't think they do, but I think you pointed out, I said this maybe on your show a few weeks back, this election you can summarize in 2 cents. They're crazy, we're not. And you just went through all the crazy positions. It was really funny though, Sean. A week ago in the committee here, Brandon Gill, one of our great members on the committee, the last one to question.
We need to update some of those.
He went through this thing with Plattner and his tattoo, and he asked the guy from the executive director of the FPLC. He said, "Would you vote for a guy with a Nazi tattoo?" And he got there to say, "No, he wouldn't." So think about this. We won't.
Well, by the way, let me play this because this was a great moment in your committee hearing, and I thought Brandon did a great job. Let me play it.
This is a tattoo on Maine Democrat Senate candidate Graham Plattner's chest. That's the Nazi SS death head tattoo. Do you have any opinions on that?
If it's what you say, if it's a Nazi symbol, we oppose Nazis.
We oppose. I agree. We do oppose Nazis. Do you think if somebody got a Nazi tattoo on their chest, that's indicative that they might be a Nazi?
You'd have to ask Mr. Plattner why he has that symbol. I've already said that if it is a symbol of Nazism, we oppose Nazis.
You don't think that that's indicative that perhaps he holds Nazi sentiments?
It may well be.
It may well be. I think, do people who aren't Nazis normally get Nazi tattoos on their chest?
Again, I assume they don't.
You assume they don't? I would assume so, too. I don't know anybody who's not a Nazi. I don't know anybody who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest but is not a Nazi. Do you? Do you think that somebody who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest should serve in the United States Senate?
I wouldn't vote for that person.
I certainly wouldn't either. Do you think that this should disqualify him politically from serving in the Senate?
Again, I'm not sure what the line of questions is going. The SPLC, if you're asking me, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If you're asking me if the SPLC opposes...
Right, so we get the point of all this. Your committee is investigating this whole issue involving the Southern Poverty Law Center. What are you finding? How much money did they give extremist groups and extremists? And where is the legal aspect of this?
Yo, soup for you.
Yeah, $4 million to foment the hate that they told their donors they were fighting. What's interesting is even one of the Southern Poverty Law Center employees who was running this operation.
Oh, there's a lot of good. I don't know about just general food, but they have a lot of good Chinese buffets.
One of the people they were paying.
I love Chinese
some
buffet.
Crazy Aryan Nation kind of. So I just thought it was funny. Is they won't vote for a Nazi, but they'll pay him and date him. I mean, that's what they were doing, all to raise money. Here's the taxing chart. It worked. They took in so
there's a lot of good
steakhouses
that serve prime rib and stuff.
Like $51 million to $133 million.
One right there in White House.
Money coming in, and they got like an $800 million endowment. It's like this crazy scheme worked. But the worst part of it all was they became the standard because the Biden Garland Justice Department worked with them, helped make them the standard. They were the source behind that famous memorandum where and the FBI said if you're a pro-life Catholic, you're an extremist. That's the worst part. They became the standard.
They didn't get past me to get it to this
out there. That's the scary part. So God bless Todd Blanche and President Trump's administration and Justice Department for going after these guys and indicting them because they deserve it.
I definitely agree with you. All right, quick break, right back. More with Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, and then your calls coming up, 800-941-SEAN, our number if you want to be a part of the program as we continue.
The Dems want to stand on the steps singing terrible songs and cursing out Trump. You know, you have one guy over there shouting. Ever wonder if these people ever go to work? Me too. Roll out. This is the Sean Hannity Show.
I came to California. Nowhere to stay. The story of passion and perseverance, triumph and influence, and a voice that still resonates. Rock the bells for Tupac Tales. Tupac was a super talented dude who did tremendous things for the culture. All his music and stories celebrating the life of Tupac Shakur during Black Music Month. On now in the Sirius XM, included with most subscriptions on your phone, computer, Alexa, TV, or wherever you stream. At Creek Area, we have some exciting news. We just raised pay across the board, including OTR 21-day drivers who now get an extra 3 cents a mile. Starting pay is between 64 and 69 cents per mile, and the top 50% average $101,000 a year. We're looking for safe, motivated drivers. Go to creekcarrier.com to apply today, or hit pound 250, keyword Creek, to talk to a recruiter right now.
How many times are you going to walk into that outdated bathroom and think, I really need a bathroom makeover? Stop putting it off and transform your bathroom and your life in as little as one day with a beautiful, affordable shower makeover from Jacuzzi Bathroom Model. Choose from custom designs tailored to your budget and style, including safety-focused features for beauty and peace of mind.
I had a great experience from start to finish. The crew that came in, they were so professional. This looks like a marble, beautiful, new shower, and it was done all in one day.
Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. Call now to schedule your free design consultation and quote. Call 800-384-3114. That's 800-384-3114. 800-384-3114. With purchase and installation, financing through third-party lenders, subject to credit approval. No interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Charge for purchase date if not paid in full. Will qualify. Call dealer for details.
You've worked hard for your money. Now let it work hard for you. RJM Group and Company has been helping families grow their wealth for over 30 years, right here in South Florida. Imagine an investment as steady as a CD account, but earning returns from 7% to 20%, guaranteed every month or every year. With contracts from 1 to 5 years, RJM puts you in control. No gambling, no guessing. Just smart, secure growth backed by real estate expertise you can trust. If you've been waiting for the right way to invest, call RJM Group and Company now at 1-888-775-3002. That's 1-888-775-3002. That's 1-888-775-3002.
One of my greatest joys is to do that.
Trusted, proven, built for your future.
Individual results may vary. There's no guarantee that past performance will be indicative of future results. Invest wisely.
You already know French
You never know how long you're going to live. So.
class golf and casino gaming. We're also the region's leader in corporate meeting space and hospitality. Chicago, Atlanta, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, you're all within a single tank of gas. So skip the airport this year, drive in, and experience French Lick Resort, home of the 1924 PGA Championship. Get started now at FrenchLick.com.
Under 21 Banner Casino. If we problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT or text INGAMB to 53342. Message and data rates may apply.
Are you a small business owner struggling with cash flow issues? Look no further than AmeriFactors, a trusted partner in business funding. With AmeriFactors, you can turn your unpaid invoices into fast cash. Say goodbye to long payment cycles and hello to quick and easy funding options, even with less than perfect credit, including bankruptcies. If you need working capital to make payroll, buy inventory, or to expand your business, AmeriFactors has got you covered.
Working with AmeriFactors was the best decision. Our business is thriving and growing. Without AmeriFactors, we never would have been able to get to this point.
With AmeriFactors, you can focus on what you do best, running your business, while they take care of providing cash flow and accounts receivable management. Their team of experts are dedicated to providing personalized solutions focused on the success of your business. Fuel your business growth with AmeriFactors. Call AmeriFactors today, 800-884-FUND. That's 800-884-3863. Or visit AmeriFactors.com.
Running a business is hard enough, so why make it harder with a dozen different apps that don't talk to each other? Introducing Odoo, the only business software you'll ever need. It's an all-in-one, fully integrated platform that makes your work easier. From CRM, accounting, inventory, e-commerce, and more. And the best part, Odoo replaces multiple expensive platforms for a fraction of the cost. That's why over thousands of businesses have made the switch. So why not you? Try Odoo for free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Get your podcast.
I think we're going to be getting these pretty soon.
Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee.
This one's right in my back eye.
800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. All right, so this is a midterm unlike any others. Now, historically, the party in power tends to historically lose seats in the House and Senate. With the Democrats going so hard left, and, you know, for example, Hillary Clinton, the latest person that punted on the issue of Graham Plattner. Chuck Schumer, you know, minority leader in name only. Hakeem Jeffries, minority leader in name only. Nobody will take on the radicals in their party because it's now run by Bernie and Pocahontas and Syed and Plattner and Six-Gender Tellerico and AOC and Mamdani and the Squad. Nobody dares criticize them. How is it? Is that going to be their platform in November?
Well, that's all the energy in the party. It's the hard left, the energy and the money, and Act Blue is raising all this money from it. So you're right. They're afraid. There's timidity on the part of the leadership in the Democrat Party to take on the left. But I think we have to point it out. We have to point out that, you know, that party is now anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, really, now I think in many ways, anti-American. Remember what Mamdani said? The frigidity of rugged individualism should be replaced with the warmth of collectivism. That's frightening, but that's the party that deep down the left, who now runs that party, I don't think they like America. And it's sad because 250 years the greatest country ever, but that's where they're at. And we need to point that out. for the next several months as we head into this midterm. Do you want the party that doesn't like America, doesn't want to help Israel, has these crazy beliefs, or do you want common sense, as President Trump always talks?
All right, Jim Jordan, Ohio, Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Look, from America's Revolutionary War to Israel's fight for survival, basically since the beginning, our great nations, both of us, have faced moments that test our courage. And whatever you can donate, or if you can't donate anything,
I'm about to
anybody
flip it over to Bao for a minute and check it out.
Flag pin as we stand with the only democracy in the region that, like America, is targeted for death to America, death to Israel. Anyway, just go to flagpinifcj.org. It's that simple. It is.
Oh shit, you got a new one though.
Rice investigations. I established my birthday back in January of 2011. I'm here in downtown St. Augustine, Florida, to celebrate America's 250th birthday by engaging in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of assembly on traditional public forums. And what I also do when I do this is a constitutional rights investigation to see if our constitutional rights are respected, specifically our First Amendment protected rights. And one of the things that my constitutional rights investigations have revealed is this unholy alliance.
I believe there's evidence that they were in the Upper Peninsula area.
And local law enforcement. Typically what happens is a restaurant manager will come out and they will say, I don't want you here. I don't like what you're doing. I don't want you here. There's no laws being broken or anything like that. But if you don't do what we want, we're going to call the police and have the police come enforce what we want, our wants. As my investigations have revealed, I have been trespassed, detained, threatened with arrest, and arrested multiple times by law enforcement, not because I'm breaking the law, not because a crime is being committed, but because a restaurant or a private business called and said, we don't want him here. And I have been arrested multiple times under those exact same circumstances, including the felony arrests down in Flagler Beach, Florida, by the city of Flagler Beach Police, who did exactly what I'm talking about. The funky fellow called the police on me. There was no crime being committed. They told the police, we don't want him here. And Sergeant Yelvington from the Flagler Beach Police Department was more than happy to come and arrest me and charge me with a felony. So let's hold this magic cardboard mirror up to society out here and see what's reflected in people's hearts. God bless homeless veterans. Please pray for homeless vets. And happy birthday, USA. Thank you, folks. How are you?
I love how short his videos are.
God bless homeless vets, y'all. Please pray for homeless veterans, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you, folks. How are you? Please pray for homeless vets, y'all. Have a blessed night. Thank you, folks. How are you? Thank you. Please pray for homeless vets. Have a blessed night.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my hometown.
I love it. Yeah, really.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, I've been coming here for since adding on a shooting range to high school in August.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
So you do like you're winning a lot of your cases or whatever. Like
I am. I'm donating money to the homeless shelter. Me too. Yeah, that's yes. I'm not homeless myself. I just come out in public and spread the message. But you know what I say about the sign? It's my magic cardboard mirror. It reflects in people's hearts. So you guys have kindness and compassion. God bless you.
Thank you.
Very kind. Thank you. You have a blessed night. Eating folks, how are you? God bless the best. Good evening, how are you? God bless you.
I missed it earlier.
I know it's weird, but if you stay on this side, I can't have you in front of the building.
I say that a lot. I don't even know. I'm sorry.
Said it's private property. I can't have you panhandling right in front of the residence and stuff like that.
Well, you know, I'm not an attorney. I didn't go to law school, but I did watch a lot of Schoolhouse Rock when I was a kid.
Okay.
And
I mean, if we have to make it a problem, we can make it a problem. I'm trying to ask you very nicely that you can't be out in front. If you want to be over here like they usually are, sure. You can't be by my front door.
I'm going to ask you very nicely. Can you go somewhere else?
No, because this is
Shoot.
This is my okay.
Shoot. Bye-bye, shoot. God bless you, sir. I am not homeless myself. I come out in public to spread this message.
Oh, you don't collect anything? You collect from it?
I don't collect anything. I don't take any money. I'm blessed to have a house myself.
Are you a vet?
I am. Thank you. God bless you. Appreciate it.
Hey, Josh, can I share a topic from her?
Hi there.
I was just calling. I'm calling here from the Columbia restaurant here on
Same
St.
voice.
George Street. So I have a man out front panhandling right in front of our doors as guests are trying to walk in. He's like literally like in front of the entrances, like trying to stop people as they're coming in the doors. And I went out there to ask him nicely, and he started going on this rant about how he's not an attorney, but he watched a lot of Schoolhouse of Rock, and he can do whatever the fuck he wants, and with a sign that says like God bless homeless or something like that. He did get a little verbally aggressive with me when I asked him if he could please move across the street, and that he told me when he gets the
Straight up lying.
He's just like trying to like as they're walking in the door, like give him the stop story of why he needs them to give him.
Did you want to meet with the responding unit that's currently there?
I mean, I'll be upstairs in the lobby and stuff. If they need me, they can come in here and talk to me. I'm the manager on duty right now, so I'll be up there and stuff like that.
Hello. Hey, you guys called about some guy?
Yeah, I just try to go out there and talk to him. He was just in front of our door. Whatever. We have those people that sit across the street all day. But he's like in front of the door as people are walking in. I just try to explain to him, like, look, like, you know, you can be on that side of the street. You just can't be in front of our door as people are walking in because.
Was he like standing like right in front of the door?
He's been roaming, but he'll stop right in front of the entrance when people are coming in and be like, oh, you know, the whole life story. And that's all I told him. And then he started going on about, I'm not an attorney, and, you know, a lot of these places down here told me this. And yeah, because they're trying to stop people from coming in. I mean, he just started getting mad. It was like, I don't fucking care. He's like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, just leave.
You guys want him trespass?
I mean, I don't think he did. I just wanted him to understand that he can't be in front of our like, I don't think we need to. I mean, this is the first time I've ever seen this guy. I mean, we have a couple. Yeah. I mean, I might have seen him, but you know, we have like 2 to 3 guys that are always consistently out there. I'm sure you know, like Christian, the older guy with the long white hair, comes in and like steals our fucking toilet paper and stuff. So
Devin, the one with the little dot.
That's right. Oh, he sits there from 12 to 7 every day straight in his conspiracy theory. So I mean, I don't think he needs to be trespassed, but obviously, if it becomes a consistent problem with his doing this, Randy, the general manager, will probably trespass. I just wanted him.
Right now? Okay. Well, I mean, it's ultimately your decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, I mean, you can make that decision without him being there.
I don't think he needs to be trespassed. I think he was just being ridiculous, and I didn't want it to get. I could feel him starting to get a little bit more like angry after talking to him. So the last thing I wanted was like someone else to go out there and like get like.
Was any of your customers like injured for their life or anything?
No, I mean I had a couple walk in and just be like, hey, like just so you know, this guy's like standing by the door, like asking for people.
Nobody seemed scared or anything.
No, I mean no one was like. I mean the typical people that they see a homeless man like that, I think that they kill him. But I mean other than that, no one was like.
They didn't make any threats towards anyone.
No, I mean it was just people being like, hey, like just so you know, it's a little like I think they were a little more awkward about it. No one was like scared. He just started yelling at him.
Yelling.
Was telling him to calm down.
I'm gonna step away. And that's all. I just wanted him to calm down. Not like freak out. That was my biggest concern. After talking to him, the way he was talking to me, I didn't want it to like escalate to anything.
Alright, yeah, well, we'll just tell him to calm down.
Calm it down. The most calm person in the world.
Would you like to do the honors of telling him to chill out?
Yeah.
No, I mean, he's basically blocking the door as people enter. No. Would you like to do the honors of telling him to chill out?
Yeah.
We ain't doing anything wrong. There's no reason for us to stand around. No, I mean, he's basically blocking the door as people enter.
guess you upset a couple of customers or blindfolded. Just handle their business, not block anything. I'm not blocking anything. I never did block people. I always say that. Okay. Thank you. Sir. What was that? Of course. Sorry, I just didn't hear. I was facing the other way. Thanks, man.
Yeah, great advertisement for them. Yeah, I love Jeff Gray. I would really like to meet him next time I go down to Florida. We find Bowski. Hop in there for a minute.
What I mean, I just you don't have to like solve what I do.
Y'all want to play like a drinking game or something?
Why do you look at me when you said that? I can't play that shit?
You have to go hide upstairs or something.
You want to play?
Dude, who doesn't drink?
You want to play 50 at home? How about you come play with the guys, man? We play $3 skins. We bet on everything. We play $3 skins. We carry over. We play $5 birdies, $10 eagles, $10 shutouts, $10 beat by 10. We do $10 front, $10 back, $10 low. We do 10 on 3s, 4s, and 5s. And anything you can bet on. We do live bets. Like if you talk shit on a hole, man, like if I'm having a bad day, man, and you talk shit to me, man, I would just look at you like, let's play this hole for fucking 20, bitch. And as soon as you say yes, I'm gonna pound driver, fucking hit a wedge, and fucking 2-putt for 4. No matter what I did the last hole. It won't matter. I'm serious. Let's do this. Number 12, par 4. Let's do this. 350. You gonna lay up here, I think? I'm gonna hit a wedge. You got quite a bit of green to work with on the left hand side. Let's see. This is what I do have. I was still coming from the outside in this video here. Oh, I'm picking up on the speed. You can hear the speed picking up on the second or third hole. Getting a little whippy. My shoes are coming off, so you know it's hard to generate my speed when goddamn soles coming off. I gotta go put my shoes on. I'm sorry, I gotta go put some other shoes on. Goddamn, my feet are fucked. You still want a piece of this innocent tweaker? Did you hear the speed that was generated, man? I didn't even try swinging there, man. Like, if you want that smoke, man, whatever.
Alcohol. Like, you guys are fucking
You should come play with the guys, man.
No,
I just can't.
it's poison.
Yeah, you get crazy when you drink, so fucking drink something. Like, you guys are weirdos, man.
I said you don't drink.
I don't drink, but if I was here,
it's one of the
muties
we play when we
I did say that
I clap the ball around.
Amory, you should take a shot with her. You're not gonna get drunk. Just take a shot.
It's not about that. It's I want more people to do it instead of just me and Latina.
Dude,
that's kind of weak. Everyone's sitting around.
It kind of gets like I'm insecure that I'm gonna lose, so I need everybody else to.
I mean, I would just drink because I'd be like, well, nothing else to do.
Yeah, why are we like waiting? That's kind of why are we waiting for somebody else? Cheers.
Yeah, no, it will get you guys to fucking interact more. So sit on the couch like a bunch of.
Please. Police!
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Can you please explain what you mean?
Police on the side of the road.
I've reported police on the side of the road. Thanks.
They
Fucking morons.
don't like to interact. They just like to text each other all day. Like,
What do you mean? I feel like I've been interacting this whole day.
on your phone?
Have I not interacted with people?
Who you been texting?
I've been texting nobody. I texted Mia.
Saying what?
Yeah, let's go through our texts. Let's
I
get
lost
regular
my
shit.
phone or somebody took it.
Come on, Mia, get crazy. Take a shot.
I am. I'm drinking right now.
Really?
Cheers.
What are you drinking?
The tuna we are drinking monoxide. What do you call it?
That's a flex because I don't have to take drugs to know.
I mean, whatever. If you're doing drugs, I don't care.
You took a little Marax.
Yeah, because I don't like that drug.
Yeah, there's some drugs.
The worst drugs. Some drugs. What? Some drugs you can do. Like he's the highest blood rate.
Okay.
You got it, bro. I'm telling you, don't do it again. I don't.
People
I'm
put
not high. We're doing that high.
There are
Your eyes
drugs.
are red. You smell like it.
They're all fucking
There's
high.
good drugs and bad. Yeah. There's drugs beneficial to content, and there's drugs that
Bad
are.
drugs.
And weed is not good for content, right?
It's not good for content, but it also smells. I don't want to smell it.
How do you have OIQ and then take drugs? Like you're literally burning them. You're burning your last brain cells.
Do you guys hear something? I feel like there's like
Dude, you already lost.
I hear like a buzz.
Damn right, take a shot, man.
I hear like a buzz.
Let's loosen up, yo. Can you just like chill, you guys?
Who's gonna take a shot? At least one more person.
I'm drinking right now, so
She's
go
taking
take
a
some.
shot. She's
Yeah.
At least one more person.
Well, I was the one.
Where at? You want to take a shot with them?
He does.
I don't think. Oh, it's it on. It's it on.
But
Anime, do you want to take a shot with them?
we just not hot on.
Hello, as well.
Amber and
Bro, you're picking and choosing?
No.
Guys,
We just great for
spam
content.
L's if we want the tuna out.
Hey, so
I don't even know what they need to do to
Yeah,
stay in or lose the game. Like, they haven't had any competitions yet. They've just been arguing and race baiting.
What the fuck is going on here? No one needs. Someone needs to decide who's going faster.
Did he win you over earlier?
It's hitting the brakes for you to get over, dumbass. Right, so you get over here, truck.
All right, go move your stuff in his room.
Literally, we're doing less than the speed limit here.
And he goes in your room.
WCX.
You guys gotta be the useless people.
That's a chance. I believe so. Yes.
It's funny coming to me.
Bro, look at the anonymous chat.
It's funny. Yeah,
Everybody in the anonymous group chat's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? You know what's funny is he likes to use funny. I read those chats obviously, and I also
The anonymous chats?
the chats you just said, and I also read other people's phones, and you guys are all against each
You
other.
can,
So you're going. You guys are just all. No, I'm not going to your phone.
It's just rigged. Yeah, it's always rigged and stuff.
What did I do to everything?
You can always.
Spamming L's. Holy shit.
No, just you. She's taking your room.
Bro, WCX.
What would you guys do with content if I wasn't here?
Next day.
Probably be having a fun time.
Real question. Real question. Because you guys are absolutely.
Imagine your content.
So Ice Poseidon.
If you want.
Can I pick like?
Oh yeah, it is Ice Poseidon. Okay.
Do we all?
I just looked at the title of the stream.
Everyone has.
Yeah, it's about.
Yeah, go. You can throw that idea out there.
I knew it was Ice's voice. I was just trying to figure. I didn't know if he was behind the camera.
You don't even know what CX is about.
What's it about?
She genuinely thinks that if she left, that they're like, no.
Oh my God, these people are doing like 64 to 65,
Well, Mia, what's it about?
and they're like locked together.
What is it about? What's CX about?
CX is Ice Poseidon's.
You don't even watch my streams. You don't know shit.
Well, I kind of know a bit about the lore and the Ice Poseidon
She just wants to
Get over here.
So the child
This helps.
so she's
Yeah.
alcoholic.
How many streamers do you think
Fuck over, dude.
name me streamers that
Fucking Canadians, man. I hate them.
I mean, there's like 100. I don't know. 100? There's a lot. What is top 5? I'm not giving you a top 5, dude. Top 10? Give me top 10. Nah. Top 20? Listen, I know you just want. You're in the top 3, okay? Top 3 CX? Yeah. Thank you. I take it. I know that, bro. Champions League. Oh, I do have someone coming next week that is
Fuck out of the way.
old school. Oh, old school CX? Yeah, so you get the old and the new can meet. If you're still here, that is. I don't know if you'll still be here. Bro, do you want to talk about September? We want to start about September at the moment. What about it? The September and henna issue. We want to talk about it. I don't care what you talk about. Do you think henna is right that September still doesn't divorce with her? I don't really want to get into that, but yeah, he should divorce her, obviously.
Doing less than the speed limit.
Bro. But Hannah's also kind of obsessed and crazy because you can get divorced without him. Like, you don't have to have him. She can just get divorced on her own. She doesn't need him. What about the money then? I mean, yeah, if she wants the money, then she needs him, yeah.
Ice, would you ever get married?
Yeah.
Would you sign a prenup?
Yeah. Are you ever married?
Tango 82.
Yeah.
003.
I mean, a prenup is,
fucking Ontario.
It's just necessary. Of course. Because you never know what could happen in 20 years. People change. Who knows? Exactly. Well, people change in 2 days, bro. If September was allowed to come to US, would you invite him to this party? Probably. Probably would you invite him? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Probably a lot of things.
Sandpaper called me and Shubi when we were arguing in Japan, and he's a freaking snake. He came on my phone being like, no, I feel so bad. And he was talking to Shubi being like, use him. Like in that fucking disgusting ass British accent. Absolutely hate his voice. Sandpaper's been around his voice so long. His voice is absolutely
And that is exactly why I would have brought him here, yeah.
Absolutely. His voice is horrendous. What type of accent is that? Like what part?
Terrible.
It's fucking awful. Like, it's terrible.
All right, come on, bro. Take a shot, man.
Take a shot.
He's doing it with me.
Tourist in Canada.
I said I would. Tina.
Just saying, it's gonna turn out to be kind of lame if it's just literally me and Latina.
The thing is, like, we already did a lot of content.
No, it's not lame, dude. You'll be loosening up, having a good time. Motivate the others to do the same.
We get drunk and then lock ourselves in our own room.
That one on the end was open. I think.
We're jolly drunk. Well, that was easy to open, so it's probably open already. Yeah, that's what
Standard.
I'm serious.
That's good.
Everyone likes it.
Are you gonna do a triple shot?
You have to take your
God damn.
You can't take too much. No.
Got some in there.
Cheers.
I haven't done that so long. I did one yesterday, but water. You tall ass Sean. You trying to?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. No notifications?
Prometheus P81 helped with $20 through Super Chat. What's good, Dada? No notification, but I'm a diehard supporter. You saw. Smiley face emoji.
Yeah, I've been shadow banned from the fucking viewer per stream realm to the 50 viewer per stream realm. I got a badger tugging on me. I got a badger tugging on me hard. I'll be right back. That's what I was doing. Yeah, I gotta wait on that. Thank you. I appreciate you, Justin. I appreciate you. Thank you. No. But last.
Because you've not been streaming much lately, homie. Not that interesting. Just Ice Poseidon, a bunch of fucking drunk rich people. Let's go back to
tap into our genius. How can we tap into the skill set, the creativity that we have? And many blacks at that time did that because they were so distraught with the years of being enslaved that they had the talent and the ability to do things. And so that's why we have the development of all of these different types of communities that were popping up in the rural South. And one of the things that they had to face was the jealousy that was and given upon destruction of some of those communities, even right here in the state of Texas. That did happen, and it happened for a long time. So I think that not every generation of those people that were enslaved really connected with the reality or identified with the reality of that. It was over a period of time that took place. So even the sting of it still impacts us today, especially this state here in Texas in which I live.
My guest, Dr. Walter Milton Jr. And go ahead, Joel, if you have something to add. It's a free-flowing conversation.
I was going to say that the General Order number 3 that General Granger and his team put together states unequivocally the 4 words, all slaves are free. But it also contained a patronizing language intended to appease the planters who didn't want to lose their workforce. So 41 words of the 93-word order urged the enslaved people to stay put and keep working. And here's a quote from it. It says, "The freed are advised to remain at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and they will not be supported in idleness either there or elsewhere." So the last 2 sentences advise the freedmen to remain at their present homes, work for wages. You're free, but don't go anywhere. And I think that that adding to what Walter just communicated so eloquently, it adds to the sting of it all. And I think that the enslaved, all they heard were those 4 words, all slaves are free, and they said, to heck with you, but we're out of here. Please don't fail me now. But then how are we going to deal with this uncertain future?
Yeah, and that is something that I think has really never been discussed, this transition, the workforce, the economy. There's so many things underway, and I want to get more into that in our next segment, because at the same time, gentlemen, westward expansion was underway. Other free blacks, for that matter, were also migrating westward, some to Texas. Many will remember the term Buffalo Soldier, and other terms that were used in that period. So there's a lot to this, and how does the society function with this new dynamic? Dr. Walter Milton Jr., founder and CEO of BH365, and of course co-author, along with Dr. Joel Freeman, co-founder and executive director of BH365. The website, as I've told you over the years, BH365 is how I refer to it, but it is BlackHistory365Education.com. You can get there with bh365.org, but I really want to stress that this is history and education, and as I've always... Coca-Cola used to have actual cocaine in it. The Wild West had stricter gun laws than your city does right now. And America, land of the free, ran its own program to forcibly sterilize 60,000 people, then handed the blueprint straight to the Nazis. Every single thing you just heard is true. And your school taught you the exact opposite.
For 13 years, they fed you a version of American history that was carefully edited, conveniently cleaned up, and in 111 specific places. Flat out wrong. Today, we're cracking open all of it. No spin, no textbook, and definitely no apology. Smash that subscribe button right now because your friends are walking around quoting fake history with total confidence. 1. Imagine inventing breakfast just so people would stop being horny. That was the entire mission of Sylvester Graham and John Harvey Kellogg, two health nuts who genuinely believed bland food would kill your urges. Graham gave America the cracker. Kellogg gave America cornflakes. Both men were convinced that anything tasty turned you into a sinner, so they served the blandest food possible, hoping the nation would calm down. America took the snacks and completely ignored the sermon. 2. Everybody pictures the Wild West as a place where everyone blasted away in the streets. Reality was hilariously boring. Towns like Tombstone had strict gun control, and the moment you rode in, the sheriff made you hand over your weapons like a kid surrendering a slingshot. Cowboys grumbled. Lawmen insisted. The famous gunfight at the OK Corral actually kicked off because some cowboys refused to disarm. So the real Wild West was mostly people arguing about where to park their guns. 3. America once ran its own eugenics program. And yes, it was as horrifying as it sounds. The government forcibly sterilized over 60,000 people it decided were unfit, including the poor and disabled. Officials acted like they were tidying up the gene pool. Families were devastated. Judges shrugged. The truly chilling part is that Nazi Germany studied these American laws and used them as a blueprint. So while textbooks skip it, America accidentally handed dictators a how-to guide for cruelty. 4. Picture grabbing a refreshing Coca-Cola in the 1890s and getting an actual buzz. The original recipe really did contain cocaine, pulled straight from coca leaves. Customers felt wonderful and had no idea why. Pharmacists smiled. Buyers came back constantly, somehow always thirsty. The company quietly removed the cocaine around 1903 once people started raising eyebrows. So that legendary feeling of an old-timey Coke being magically refreshing was not your imagination. It was chemistry doing some very illegal heavy lifting. 5.
Wasn't illegal.
President James Garfield got shot in 1881, and honestly, the bullet was the nicest part of his day. The wound itself was survivable. His doctors, however, decided to dig around inside him using their bare, unwashed fingers. Infection set in fast. The doctors looked confused. Garfield slowly suffered for 80 agonizing days while these geniuses kept poking. He finally died not from the assassin, but from the medical care. So technically, America lost a president to a group of men who refused to wash their hands. 6. Everybody knows the stiff straight arm salute as something deeply sinister, but Americans used to do it proudly. The original Pledge of Allegiance came with a rigid extended arm gesture called the Bellamy salute. School kids did it every morning without a second thought. Teachers led it, parents approved. Then the 1940s arrived, and a certain European dictator started doing the exact same move. America looked around, realized the optics were a disaster, and switched to the hand over heart in 1942. 7. The Pilgrims landed expecting confused strangers, and instead met a native man who greeted them in fluent English. His name was Squanto, and his backstory was brutal. He had already been kidnapped and dragged to Europe as a slave, where he picked up the language. He eventually made it home. The Pilgrims were stunned. Squanto basically became their translator and survival coach. So the heartwarming first Thanksgiving was powered by a man whose English skills came from surviving a kidnapping. 8. The American Civil War kicked off with a massive dramatic bombardment, and the body count was a grand total of 0. Confederate forces shelled Fort Sumter for roughly 34 hours straight. Cannons roared. Smoke filled the sky. Both sides braced for carnage. Yet somehow not a single soldier died in the fighting itself. The only death came afterward during a surrender ceremony when a cannon misfired. So the bloodiest war in American history opened with the world's least deadly fireworks show. 9. A man calmly boarded a plane in 1971, ordered a drink, then announced he had a bomb. He called himself D.B. Cooper. He demanded $200,000 and several parachutes. The airline handed everything over. Passengers were released. Then, somewhere over the Pacific Northwest, Cooper opened the rear stairs and jumped into the freezing night sky. Investigators searched for decades. He vanished completely. To this day, nobody knows who he was or whether he even survived the leap. 10. Americans light fireworks every July 4th to celebrate a date that is technically wrong. Congress actually voted for independence on July 2nd, and John Adams was so sure that date would be the big one that he basically called it. He was off by 2 days. The famous document was finalized on the 4th. Most signers did not even put pen to paper until August. So the entire country throws its biggest birthday party on a day that is essentially a clerical mix-up. 11. Everybody says Nixon got impeached, and everybody is wrong. The man saw the cliff coming and jumped first. As the Watergate scandal closed in, the House was gearing up to impeach him, and the votes were clearly there. Nixon read the room. Lawmakers sharpened their pens. So in 1974, he simply resigned on live television before they could officially do it. He dodged the impeachment label by quitting, which is basically rage quitting the presidency to avoid getting kicked from the game. 12. The Pony Express sounds like it shaped the whole frontier, yet it barely lasted longer than a gym membership. The whole operation ran for only about 18 months. Brave riders galloped across dangerous terrain delivering mail at breakneck speed. People were impressed, investors were hopeful. Then the telegraph wires went up, letting messages zip across the country instantly, and the entire horse-based system became pointless overnight. So this legendary American icon was basically a startup that got crushed the moment better tech arrived. 13. People scream about the Confederate flag, completely unaware they are arguing about the wrong flag. The design everyone fights over was never the official national flag of the Confederacy. It was just a battle flag carried by one army group. Historians sigh. Internet warriors keep posting it anyway. The actual Confederate national flags looked totally different and are mostly forgotten today. So the most controversial symbol in American history is technically a military banner that got promoted to fame entirely by accident. 14. The story goes that settlers bought all of Manhattan for $24 in shiny beads, which is adorable and also nonsense. That dollar figure was a wild guess scribbled down in the 1800s. The Lenape people who lived there did not even believe land could be owned. They likely thought they were agreeing to share it. Settlers assumed otherwise. So the greatest real estate deal in history was really two groups completely misunderstanding each other, with one side accidentally claiming an island. 15. The Statue of Liberty is famously green, but she spent her early years looking like a giant shiny penny. When France first delivered her, she was gleaming copper brown, bright and metallic. New Yorkers admired her. Tourists scoffed. Then nature got to work, and over roughly 30 years the copper oxidized into that famous green coating. Some officials actually wanted to repaint her to stop it. So the most iconic green statue on Earth was originally the color of a brand new coin. 16. Charles Lindbergh gets crowned as the first man to fly across the Atlantic, and that crown is slightly too big for his head. Dozens of people had already crossed that ocean by air before him. Pilots had done it in stages. Crews had done it together. Lindbergh's actual achievement was being the first to fly it solo and nonstop, which is genuinely impressive. So he earned his fame, just not the version most Americans remember. He was first at a very specific thing. 17. The fortune cookie feels deeply Chinese, yet it has almost nothing to do with China. The little cracker with the tiny prophecy was popularized in California, most likely by Japanese American bakers experimenting with sweet treats. Diners loved them. Restaurants ran with it. The cookies eventually got tied to Chinese food in America purely by association. Visit China. And people will stare at you in confusion if you ask for one. So this beloved Chinese tradition was basically invented in the United States. 18. Bonnie and Clyde live in legend as glamorous bank-robbing icons, gliding from one giant heist to the next. The truth is far less cinematic. Most of their robberies hit tiny gas stations and small stores for pocket change. They were broke a lot. They slept in cars. Hollywood later dressed them up in style and gave them dramatic shootouts to sell tickets. So the most famous criminal couple in America were essentially small-time crooks who got a major glow-up from the movies. 19. For 40 years, the United States government ran a study that watched black men slowly die on purpose. In the Tuskegee experiment, doctors told these men they were getting treated for their illness. They were not. Officials had a cure available. They withheld it. The men suffered while researchers calmly took notes, studying syphilis as it destroyed their bodies. Families were never warned. It only ended when a whistleblower exposed it. So America ran one of its cruelest medical betrayals in plain sight. 20. The story of young George Washington chopping a cherry tree and bravely confessing is pure fiction. A biographer named Parson Weems made the whole thing up. He wanted his book to sell, so he invented a wholesome tale about honesty. Readers ate it up. Schools repeated it. Generations of children grew up believing a totally fabricated story about a kid and an axe. So the most famous lesson about telling the truth in American history was built entirely on a lie. 21. Grover Cleveland holds a record so weird it sounds like a math error. He is both the 22nd and the 24th president, somehow counted twice. The trick is that he won, lost, then won again. Voters dumped him after one term. Then they missed him. So 4 years later, they brought him right back, making him the only president to serve 2 terms with another man's term stuffed in the middle. So America technically elected the same guy twice again, and the history books just shrugged and numbered him twice. 22.
This is 2 weeks
Billy
old.
the Kid supposedly killed 21 men, one for every year
That's how
of the short
stupid
life,
AI
which is
can
a perfect legend and almost entirely made up.
This is
The real
very,
number is
very
far
woke
smaller,
AI
probably
too.
around 4 to 9. Storytellers loved the symmetry. Newspapers ran with it. The poetic idea of a man with one
country-hating
birthday was
AI.
just too good to fact check. So the deadliest outlaw of the frontier was mostly a marketing creation, a scrawny young man whose body count got inflated by people who loved a tidy story. 23. Plenty of Americans think slavery was strictly a Southern problem, but the North was knee-deep in it too. Northern states owned enslaved people for generations. New York in particular dragged its feet for an embarrassingly long time. Lawmakers stalled. Owners resisted. The state did not fully abolish slavery until 1827, long after the nation loved to picture itself as the land of the free.
1827.
So the moral high ground the North enjoys in textbooks was
Civil
built
War
on
was in
foundation
1865.
to mention. 24. Movies show Plains tribes thundering across the prairie on horseback, like they always had horses, but they did not. There were no horses in the Americas at all before Europeans arrived. Tribes had to hunt and travel on foot for centuries. Then Spanish colonizers brought horses over. Native peoples adopted them brilliantly and fast. Within a few generations, they became some of the finest riders on the planet. So the iconic image of the mounted warrior was actually a stunning upgrade powered by accidental imports.
Yeah, they didn't even have the wheel.
Many people assume the founders stamped "In God We Trust" onto everything from day one, but it showed up surprisingly late. The phrase only became the official national motto in 1956, deep into the Cold War. Politicians wanted to look distinct from godless communism. Congress agreed enthusiastically. The original founders never made it the nation's motto at all. So a phrase Americans treat as ancient and foundational is actually younger than rock and roll, slapped on during a panicky standoff with the Soviet Union. 26. Everybody pictures Prohibition as the era when drinking was illegal, but technically, you could sip all you wanted. The law only banned making, selling, and transporting alcohol. Owning and drinking it was perfectly fine. So wealthy people stockpiled massive private collections before the ban hit. They sipped legally, their neighbors raided speakeasies. Meanwhile, the average person got hauled off for buying a beer. So Prohibition basically punished people for getting alcohol while letting the rich enjoy their preloaded liquor cabinets.
Yeah, this is so woke.
27. Milton Hershey did not just sell chocolate. He built an entire town obsessed with it. He created Hershey, Pennsylvania, a full community for his factory workers. There were homes, schools, and parks. Workers settled in happily. Visitors marveled. The man even installed streetlights shaped like giant Hershey kisses, because subtlety was clearly not his thing. So while other industrialists were busy being ruthless, this candy tycoon built a wholesome chocolate kingdom where the lampposts themselves reminded you to buy more of his products. 28. Jesse James gets remembered as a Robin Hood figure who robbed the rich for the poor, which is a beautiful lie. He kept every dollar. The man started out as a brutal pro-Confederate guerrilla during the Civil War, then transitioned into robbing trains and banks for himself. Folks romanticized him. Newspapers helped. The poor never saw a cent of his loot. So the legendary outlaw with a heart of gold was really just a violent thief with excellent public relations and a very generous fan base. 29. In 1921, a thriving black neighborhood in Tulsa was burned to the ground, and America spent decades pretending it never happened. The district was so prosperous, people
I can't do any more of this.
A white mo- Why is it physically impossible to legally convict a criminal in one 50-mile stretch of America, yet perfectly normal for an entire town to spend 60 years quietly burning to death underground? Welcome to 71 Dumbest Geographical Anomalies, where we are exposing the wildest map blunders ever made, like the time-drunk surveyors carved a border straight through people's kitchens, alongside absurd towns that crowned their own kings and rivers that literally flowed backward for hours. We are proving which insane stories are 100% real history and which are just cartographic lies, like the fact that Alaska is somehow the easternmost state. So hit that subscribe button before we reveal the truth. 1. Somewhere in the Idaho slice of Yellowstone sits a 50-square-mile zone, where the Constitution accidentally lets a person commit a felony and stroll away whistling. The Sixth Amendment guarantees a jury pulled from the state and district where the crime occurred, but absolutely nobody lives in this empty stretch. A law professor named Brian Colt discovered the gap and begged Congress to close it. They mostly ignored it, leaving the loophole sitting wide open today. 2. Back in colonial times, a sloppy Massachusetts survey crew accidentally grabbed a fat chunk of Connecticut soil and pretended it was theirs. When Connecticut finally noticed the theft and demanded its dirt back, Massachusetts basically shrugged and refused. Then they got greedy and sold the stolen land to investors, pocketing the cash. That awkward money helped bankroll the founding of Yale University, so one of America's fanciest schools was partly built on confidently stolen real estate. 3. Alaska is so enormous that it accidentally became the easternmost state in America, which sounds completely insane. Its Aleutian Islands stretch so far west that they cross the 180-degree meridian and spill straight into the eastern hemisphere. That technicality means Alaska holds the northernmost, westernmost, and somehow the easternmost points in the entire country all at once. Mapmakers basically threw up their hands. One frozen state quietly hoarding 3 directional titles feels deeply unfair to the other 49. 4. The tiny mining town of Rough and Ready got so furious about a federal mining tax in 1850 that it dramatically seceded from the United States entirely. The miners declared their own little republic and felt very proud of themselves for about 3 months. Then the 4th of July rolled around, and they realized nobody would legally sell booze to a foreign nation. So they quietly rejoined America just in time to celebrate the country they had abandoned. 5. One night in 1877, the Missouri River got bored and carved itself a brand new path while everyone slept. By morning, The entire town of Carter Lake, Iowa, had been yanked to the wrong side of the water. Suddenly, this loyal Iowa community was physically stranded inside Nebraska, completely surrounded by a state it never agreed to join.
It happened in
The residents
Illinois
woke up
too.
geographically kidnapped by a river. To this day, Carter Lake remains the confused little Iowa orphan, trapped in Nebraska. 6. Point Roberts, Washington, is a tiny American peninsula accidentally dangling beneath Canada like a forgotten saw. The border was drawn along a straight line that sliced this nub off from the rest of the country. Local children cannot even reach their own American schools without leaving the United States. Every single school day, these kids cross the international border 4 separate times just to get an education. Imagine showing your passport twice before lunch and twice more before homework. 7. The town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, has been quietly burning underground since 1962, and nobody can stop it. A garbage fire crept into an abandoned coal mine and ignited a vein that keeps feeding the flames decade after decade. The roads buckle and crack open, while toxic smoke seeps up through people's yards. The state eventually gave up, condemned everything, and basically erased the town from existence. A handful of stubborn residents still live there above a fire, entering its 7th decade. 8. A violent earthquake in 1812 ripped a tiny peninsula of Kentucky loose and stranded it entirely inside Tennessee and the Mississippi River. This forgotten nub became the perfect hideout because neither state wanted to bother enforcing the law out there. Outlaws and feuding families realized they could do basically whatever they pleased. For years, it operated as a lawless little pocket where justice simply never arrived. The Kentucky Bend became a violent loophole carved by an earthquake nobody invited. 9. The surveyors mapping Delaware's southern border in colonial times were reportedly so wildly drunk that the boundary line wanders like a stumbling man. Instead of a clean straight cut, the line lurches and zigzags in confused directions across the landscape. In some spots, it staggers right through people's kitchens and living rooms, splitting homes between jurisdictions. Centuries later, families still live with a border that clearly belongs to whichever surveyor needed to sit down. Drunk geometry permanently carved into the map. 10. Here is a fact that breaks the average American brain instantly. A rocky cliff sitting in Maine is actually hundreds of miles closer to Morocco in Africa than Miami, Florida is. The Earth's dramatic curve scrunches the northern coast far closer to the other continent than anyone expects. People assume Florida hangs nearest to everything overseas, but chilly Maine quietly wins the contest. So a lighthouse keeper in Maine waving east is greeting Africa long before Miami ever could. 11. In 1850, a religious leader named James Strang sailed to a Michigan island and decided he should literally be a king. He crowned himself with an actual crown,
I remember
robes and all,
this.
and ruled Beaver Island as a genuine monarchy inside the United States. His little kingdom collected taxes, made laws, and answered to nobody but King James himself. The federal government basically watched this absurdity unfold for years. The whole sovereign nation collapsed only when 2 angry followers assassinated their king. 12. When New Hampshire and Canada could not agree who owned a scrap of borderland, the roughly 300 residents living there got completely fed up. So in 1832, they did the most American thing imaginable and founded their own country. The Republic of Indian Stream wrote its own constitution, ran its own affairs, and even threatened to fight both nations at once. These farmers genuinely declared themselves a sovereign power over a patch of woods. Eventually, everyone calmed down, and they rejoined New Hampshire. 13. Prepare for a naming disaster that makes no logical sense whatsoever. The westernmost tip of plain old Virginia actually pokes further west than any point in the entire state of West Virginia. The state literally named for being the western part somehow loses the contest to its eastern parent. Geography teachers everywhere quietly weep when students discover this. So West Virginia carries a directional name it cannot even back up, beaten at its own job by regular Virginia. 14. The Ohio River decided one day to wander off and quietly stranded a slice of Kentucky on the wrong side of the water. That orphaned chunk now sits awkwardly attached to Indiana instead. The strangest victim is Ellis Park, a Kentucky horse racetrack that you literally cannot reach without first driving through Indiana. So gamblers technically leave one state, enter another, and bet on races in a third. The horses do not care, but the map makers definitely lost sleep. 15. For 40 long years, the Oklahoma Panhandle belonged to absolutely nobody, which sounds completely made up. This thin strip floated between territories with no state, no courts, no police, and no rules whatsoever. Settlers nicknamed it No Man's Land because anyone could do anything and face 0 consequences. Outlaws, squatters, and dreamers flocked to this lawless rectangle of pure chaos. It became a genuine legal black hole where the concept of authority simply did not exist for decades. 16. A single bad map accidentally trapped a chunk of Minnesota inside Canada, and it has stayed stuck there ever since. The negotiators drawing the border relied on a wildly inaccurate map and confidently drew the line in the wrong spot. The result is the northwest angle, the only place in the lower 48 that sits north of the famous 49th parallel. Residents there must pass through Canada to reach the rest of their own state. Cartographer's mistake. Permanent address. 17. In 1816, the people of New York watched snowfall in the middle of July and assumed the world was ending. The real culprit was a massive volcanic eruption clear across the planet in Indonesia that choked the sky with ash. Crops froze, livestock starved, and farmers stared helplessly at frosted summer fields. They called it the year without a summer because the seasons completely abandoned them. An exploding mountain on the other side of Earth ruined New York's entire harvest. 18. Key West got so annoyed by a federal border roadblock in 1982 that it declared itself the Conch Republic and seceded from the United States. To launch their rebellion, they cheerfully declared war by whacking a U.S. Navy officer with a loaf of stale Cuban bread. 1 minute after declaring war, they immediately surrendered. Then, with perfect comedic timing, they demanded $1 billion in foreign aid for the damage. It remains the most gloriously ridiculous secession in American history. 19. Thanks to 2 colonial land grants that flat out contradicted each other, a 1 square mile triangle of Delaware ended up claimed by absolutely no state. This little wedge fell through the legal cracks completely, belonging to nobody at all. The lucky residents living inside it paid 0 taxes to anyone for well over a century. No state could collect because no state could prove ownership. People genuinely lived tax-free for generations simply because 2 old maps refused to agree. 20. Nebraska holds a lonely title that perfectly captures its landlocked misery. It is the only triply landlocked state in the entire country, meaning you must cross at least 3 borders in any direction just to glimpse an ocean. The poor Nebraskan dreaming of waves faces a brutal road trip through multiple states before tasting salt air. No shortcut exists, no matter which way you point the car. Geography essentially sentenced the whole state to a very long drive.
Actually, that's South Dakota is the most
The town of Kaskaskia once proudly served as the very first capital of Illinois, sitting comfortably on the east side of the Mississippi. Then, in 1881, the river threw a violent flooding tantrum and carved a brand new channel right through the land. When the water settled, the historic town had been shoved entirely to the West Bank. Now this little piece of Illinois can only be reached by driving through Missouri. The river basically evicted an entire state capital overnight. 22. Ohio and Michigan nearly went to actual war in 1835 over a sliver of land barely 8 miles wide. A poorly mapped river mouth left both sides convinced the valuable Toledo Strip belonged to them. Both governments hastily raised armed civilian militias and marched them toward the disputed border, fists clenched. The whole standoff produced lots of shouting, 1 minor stabbing, and 0 real battles. Eventually, Michigan surrendered Toledo but got handed the entire Upper Peninsula as a consolation prize. 23. There exists a tiny, completely empty Cape of America that pokes stubbornly down into Canada and refuses to be useful. Elm Point belongs to Minnesota, yet no road on American soil connects to it whatsoever. To legally reach this little nub, you must either arrive by boat or hike straight through the Canadian wilderness. Nobody lives there, nobody visits, and nobody really wants it. America simply owns a patch of grass that Canada physically surrounds and quietly babysits. 24. In 1811, a monstrous earthquake along the New Madrid Fault shook Missouri so violently that it broke the laws of common sense. The ground heaved, the land buckled, and for several astonishing hours, the mighty Mississippi River actually flowed backward. Witnesses watched the powerful current reverse direction like a confused garden hose. Boats spun, the riverbed rose, and entire stretches of water churned upstream. The most powerful river in the region briefly forgot which way it was supposed to go. 25. Long before Tennessee fully existed, a chunk of its eastern mountains got tired of waiting around and declared itself a brand new state in 1784. They proudly named it Franklin, printed their own money, and ran their own little government with total confidence. For 4 whole years, this rogue state survived on stubbornness and homemade currency. Congress never officially recognized it, and the dream slowly fell apart. Eventually broke and exhausted, Franklin quietly dissolved back into the Union. It's just a better connection. 26. In a spectacular display of confidence, American engineers spent enormous money building a massive stone fortress to guard the Canadian border. There was just one tiny problem nobody caught until later. Thanks to a botched survey, they had constructed the entire fort inside actual Canadian territory by mistake. Locals lovingly nicknamed the wasted structure Fort Blunder. America had built a mighty defensive fortress to protect itself from Canada, accidentally located in Canada. The line was eventually moved to fix it. 27. Here is a geography trick that ruins road trip arguments instantly. The inland Nevada city of Reno actually sits further west than coastal Los Angeles, which feels physically impossible. The entire west coast tilts dramatically eastward as it slides south, dragging California's shoreline well inland. So a tourist standing on a beach in LA is somehow east of a casino in landlocked Reno. People refuse to believe it until they stare at a map and slowly lose their minds. 28. The Rio Grande spent over a century behaving like the messiest neighbor imaginable along the Texas and Mexico border. The river kept wandering back and forth, dragging chunks of land into different countries depending on its mood. One entire neighborhood near El Paso kept waking up in a different nation as the water shifted. Families genuinely lost track of which country they lived in. It took a formal international treaty just to finally make the confused river sit still. 29. A messy border argument between Spain and the United States created a strip of Louisiana where the law simply ceased to exist. Both sides agreed to leave the disputed zone alone, banning any military from setting foot inside. The result was the neutral strip, a lawless no-entry buffer that quickly filled with bandits and runaways. With no authority allowed to enter, outlaws treated it like a personal paradise. For years, it became the most dangerous unofficial hideout in the region. 30. The American border guards drew a line so straight that it sliced one living community cleanly into two countries. On the United States side sits Calexico, California, and directly across the fence sits Mexicali, Mexico. The names are practically just California and Mexico smashed together and swapped around. People shop, work, and visit family by simply crossing from one half of the town to the other. It is essentially one neighborhood wearing two different national costumes split down the middle. 31. In Wyoming, there is a river that genuinely tries to cook you alive, which sounds like a terrible theme park ride. Deep underground, a geothermal anomaly pumps scalding boiling water straight into an otherwise freezing cold stream. Where the two collide, you get a beautiful spot that will literally poach a swimmer like an egg. Tourists naturally see steaming water in nature and think it looks inviting. Park rangers spend their days frantically explaining that this gorgeous river is basically a soup pot. 32. When Alabama dramatically seceded from the Union in 1861, one stubborn county decided two could play that game. Winston County looked at the Confederacy, shrugged, and proudly seceded right back, declaring loyalty to the United States. Locals nicknamed it the Free State of Winston and refused to fight for the rebel cause. The rest of Alabama was furious, but these mountain farmers simply did not care. A county seceding from a state that
there is an app.
Bad colonial map making left behind a strange little
There's actually a streaming app for it too. That's what I'm using.
This
called Rumble Studio.
5,000-acre leftover, called a gore, fell between the cracks of every official boundary. Because no town or county claimed it, nobody could legally collect taxes there either. The lucky residents enjoyed an accidental tax haven created purely by sloppy surveyors. For decades, this forgotten patch of Vermont existed as a tiny ungoverned pocket nobody bothered to fix. 34. People love bragging about California's massive coastline, so this fact tends to start arguments at parties. Maine, despite looking tiny on a map, actually has more tidal shoreline than the entire
Censoring
state of California.
YouTube is.
The secret lies in Maine's thousands of jagged bays, rocky inlets, and scattered islands that wrinkle the coast endlessly. All those twists and turns add up to staggering mileage. So humble little Maine quietly outcoastlines the mighty Pacific giant, much to California's annoyance. 35.
There's a lot of good
1931,
streams on Rumble.
Oklahoma and Texas nearly started shooting at each other over an argument about a bridge. A shifting river border sparked a feud about who controlled the crossing and who could collect the tolls. Oklahoma's governor got so heated, he deployed armed National Guardsmen to seize the bridge by force. Texas pushed back, traffic halted, and interstate travel completely shut down during the standoff. Grown men with rifles guarding a bridge over a fight nobody fully understood anymore. 36. The Supreme Court once had to settle a genuinely petty argument over who owned Ellis Island. The justices ruled that the small original natural island truly belongs to New York. However, all the extra land later created by dumping in dirt and rubble belongs entirely to New Jersey. So the famous immigration gateway is awkwardly split between two states based on which parts were real ground and which parts were filler.
You don't have to continue it. Just tell it you'll accept it.
37. Long ago, Connecticut decided that controlling Connecticut was simply not enough land for its taste. The state officially claimed a giant 120-mile strip, stretching all the way into modern-day Ohio. They called this distant colony the Western Reserve, and genuinely governed a chunk of land inside another future state. Settlers from Connecticut packed up and moved hundreds of miles to live in this bizarre detached extension. Eventually, Connecticut let go, but the strange claim left lasting marks. 38. Maine is famous for being lush, green, rainy, and absolutely covered in forests, which makes this completely absurd. Tucked inside all that greenery sits a literal 40-acre desert of rolling sand dunes. A prehistoric glacier dumped the sand long ago, and centuries later, reckless farming stripped the topsoil and let the dunes swallow everything. Today, tourists pay money to stand in a tiny Sahara surrounded by pine trees.
Fireworks going off.
A desert in soggy Maine feels like nature making a typo.
Oh, it was lightning at first. I'm like, wait a minute. There's no storms around.
British adventurer named
It's got to be fireworks.
Pulled off something genuinely audacious in Florida. He united several indigenous tribes and declared the fully sovereign state of Muskogee, complete with its own navy and flag. This brand new nation openly defied the United States and Spain, raiding their interests and refusing to back down. For several years, Bowles actually managed to keep his improvised country alive. His ambitious little nation eventually fell only after he was captured and imprisoned. 40. The border between Colorado and New Mexico was supposed to be a perfectly clean straight line, simple as a ruler. Unfortunately, the surveyor's compass kept glitching out as he worked his way across the rugged terrain. Instead of one crisp boundary, he left behind a permanent jagged zigzag dent, stamped into the map forever. Nobody ever bothered fixing the embarrassing wobble, so it remains there today. Two states divided by a line that clearly could not walk in a straight direction. 41. People assume an inland southern city sits closest to places like Chicago, but the map plays a sneaky trick. Atlanta, Georgia, is actually deceptively close to the tropical Bahamas, thanks to the deep eastward scoop of the American Southeast. The coastline curves inward so dramatically that Caribbean islands end up nearer than many northern cities. So, a businessman in Atlanta is practically a tropical neighbor without realizing it. The South quietly leans toward palm trees while everyone assumes it faces the Midwest. 42. Lake Michigan has no business producing tidal waves, yet it occasionally launches massive destructive walls of water anyway. The culprit is a bizarre weather phenomenon called a meteotsunami, triggered by sudden atmospheric pressure changes rather than any earthquake. A fast-moving storm shoves the water into a surging wave that slams the shore without warning. Beachgoers have been swept away by these sneaky surges on otherwise calm days. A freshwater lake throwing ocean-style tsunamis genuinely shocks every scientist who studies it. 43. Everyone calls the Statue of Liberty a proud symbol of New York, but the surrounding water tells a sneakier story. The justices long ago decided that the waters hugging Liberty Island actually belong completely to New Jersey. Yet the island itself remains a legal exclave of New York, marooned inside Jersey territory. So Lady Liberty stands on New York soil while floating in New Jersey water. The most famous American landmark is essentially caught in a quiet two-state custody battle. 44. Hyder is the most cut-off little corner of Alaska, and it barely behaves like Alaska at all. No road connects it to the rest of the state, leaving it stranded against the Canadian border. The residents quietly gave up and adopted Canadian money, a Canadian area code, and even Canadian police for emergencies. America technically owns the place, but Canada basically runs the day-to-day life. Hyder is an Alaskan town cosplaying as a Canadian village. 45. The entire Salton Sea, a massive inland body of water in California, exists purely because of a colossal engineering screw-up. Around 1905, workers diverting the Colorado River lost control, and the whole river came roaring into a dry desert basin. For nearly 2 years, the water poured in unchecked, accidentally filling an enormous lake nobody planned. At first, it became a glamorous resort destination. Then it slowly turned toxic and started killing fish, leaving behind a stinking accidental sea. 46. Along the remote Maine border, French-American settlers grew tired of being claimed by two different countries pulling at them. So they decided neither nation truly deserved them and created their own little homeland instead. They called it the Republic of Madawaska, complete with its own proud flag and fierce local identity. Although it was never officially recognized as a real country, the spirit never died. Locals still fly that defiant Madawaska flag today as a cheerful middle finger to borders. 47. Texas was once so absurdly enormous that its territory stretched all the way up into modern-day Wyoming. The state genuinely had a long finger of land poking far north of where anyone expects Texas to end. Eventually, federal law forced Texas to chop off that distant northern tip to comply with rules about slavery in new territories. So Texas literally sold away a piece of itself to settle a national argument. The Lone Star State used to be even more ridiculous. 48. Deep in Washington's Columbia River Basin, massive open-pit mining operations carved an engineered hole of staggering depth. The relentless digging cut so far below the surrounding land that it created one of the lowest accessible points of solid ground in the region. Standing at the bottom means standing far beneath the level of distant seawater. The sheer scale of the man-made pit dwarfs everything around it. Humans essentially dug their way toward the center of the earth for profit. 49. The city of Chicago had a disgusting problem, since all its sewage flowed straight into the lake it drank from. So, in a moment of pure engineering audacity, the city decided to simply reverse an entire river. Using a system of giant locks and canals, engineers forced the Chicago River to flow backward, away from Lake Michigan. The waste now drifted toward the Mississippi instead, becoming somebody else's problem. They led the river into running the opposite direction forever. 50. There is a charming old library on the Vermont and Canada border that was built directly on the line on purpose. The Haskell Library was designed so the front entrance and reading room sit in Vermont, while the book checkout desk sits in Quebec. A thick black line on the floor marks exactly where one country ends and the other begins. Visitors regularly stand in two nations at once while browsing novels.
Oh, you're on the app now?
It is the only library where reading requires international.
Oh, you're welcome.
51.
I get it all back when I gift it.
A geographic oddity that makes county maps look like
it's worth doing.
A chunk of land belonging entirely to one county floats completely detached, marooned deep inside a totally different neighboring county. It is an island of jurisdiction with no physical connection to its actual home. To reach your own county, you must first travel through somebody else's. Local officials basically have to leapfrog over a rival county just to govern their own stranded little patch of dirt. 52. Florida has a swampy little zone near Lake Okeechobee that gets blasted by more lightning than almost anywhere on Earth. The unique soggy topography cooks up perfect storm conditions that summon cloud to ground strikes constantly. Locals essentially live inside a natural lightning factory that never stops manufacturing electricity. Cattle, golfers, and unlucky tourists have all learned to respect the sky here. Scientists nicknamed the region Lightning Alley because the heavens treat it like a personal dartboard every single afternoon. 53. In 1853, a brash American captain named William Walker pulled off one of the cockiest stunts imaginable. He gathered a small private army in California and simply invaded Mexico without permission from anyone. Walker boldly declared himself president of a brand new Republic of Sonora, then demanded the United States annex his conquest. America refused, his supplies ran dry, and his fantasy empire collapsed almost instantly. Walker basically tried to gift his country a nation that nobody actually wanted. 54. A sloppy survey along the Vermont and Canada border managed to slice an entire town clean in half. The community of Darby got carved by the boundary line, stranding some American houses on the Canadian side. Families ended up living in homes where the country technically changed depending on which room they stood in. Crossing the kitchen could mean crossing the border. The poor residents simply learned to live with a line that ran straight through their everyday lives. 55. Here is a direction trick that breaks every American's mental compass instantly. If you stand in downtown Detroit and drive due south, you do not stay in the United States like you would expect.
South Detroit
Instead,
is
you
Windsor.
cross straight into Windsor, Canada, because the Detroit River hooks in a bizarre curve. So Canada actually sits south of part of Michigan, flipping everyone's assumptions upside down. Detroiters genuinely confuse tourists by pointing south and calling it the way to Canada. 56. Out in the Chesapeake Bay sits a tiny Virginia island slowly being erased from existence. Tangier Island is losing as much as 30 feet of land every single year to relentless erosion. Backyards that families once mowed are now open ocean, and the water keeps creeping closer to front doors. The shrinking community watches helplessly as their home literally dissolves beneath them. Experts warn that this stubborn little fishing island may completely vanish into the bay within a few generations. 57. A bizarre tangle of old maritime deeds left a tiny New Jersey pier stranded in the strangest possible situation. The little structure at Finn's Point technically belongs to New Jersey, yet it sits completely surrounded by the dry land and sovereign border of Delaware. So a sliver of Jersey property pokes awkwardly into territory that is otherwise entirely Delaware. Centuries-old paperwork created this confusing pocket nobody bothered to untangle. One state owns a pier marooned inside the body of another. 58. Far out in the Pacific Ocean sits a tiny atoll that one American family privately owned for generations. Swains Island was essentially the personal property of the Jennings family, who ran it like their own little kingdom for decades. Eventually, the United States government quietly folded the speck of land into American Samoa. The family's private island simply became part of a U.S. territory, almost without anyone noticing. America basically absorbed the household's personal paradise into the official map. 59. In 1980, an oil drilling crew on Lake Peigneur in Louisiana made one of the most catastrophic mistakes imaginable. Their drill missed its mark and punched straight into a massive salt mine hidden beneath the lake. Instantly, the water began draining into the mine, spawning a monstrous whirlpool that devoured everything. The swirling vortex swallowed the entire drilling rig, plus 11 barges like bath toys. The lake literally pulled itself down a drain and reversed a waterfall into chaos. 60. During the Civil War, a defiant Mississippi farmer named Newton Knight decided he wanted nothing to do with the Confederacy. He gathered fellow rebels, deserters, and runaways, then launched an armed uprising against the rebel government itself. Knight successfully carved out his own.
I think I'm gonna stop at Kroger and get some
his ragtag fighters genuinely controlled the region
mac and cheese as a side for tomorrow,
essentially seceded from the secession in the heart of the deep south.
rather than having to go tomorrow in the
West
morning.
Virginia has a northern panhandle so absurdly skinny, it looks like the state
the bugs are horrible right now.
At its narrowest squeeze, the entire state measures only about 4 miles wide, wedged tightly between Ohio and Pennsylvania. A person could practically eat breakfast in one neighboring state and lunch in the other after barely crossing West Virginia.
Hazy. It's because my windshield is
one good stretch
coated with bug guts.
Geography essentially squeezed the state into
It's
a
not
fragile
even
ribbon.
coming off either.
62. Montana proudly claims one of the most laughably tiny rivers anyone has ever seen. The Roe River flows for a grand total of just 201 feet before it abruptly empties out and quits. That is shorter than a single football field, yet locals genuinely call it a river with a straight face. For a while, it even held a record as the world's shortest, sparking a friendly feud with another tiny stream. Calling that trickle a river is delightfully ridiculous. 63. In 1969, the United States Army engineers did something that sounds completely impossible. They simply turned off the American side of Niagara Falls. Using a temporary dam, they diverted the entire flow so the famous waterfall went bone dry for several months. Crowds gathered to stare at the bare rock and exposed riverbed normally hidden beneath thundering water. The engineers wanted to study erosion and clear loose rubble. For a strange stretch of time, one of nature's giants was
fireworks off to the left there.
64. There is a park.
It's like personal ones. They go off every once in a while.
Where heartbreak and joy happen through a fence. Friendship Park lets people from 2 different countries gather on opposite sides of a thick metal mesh barrier. Families separated by immigration laws come here just to glimpse loved ones and press their fingers together. At most, people can legally touch pinky fingers through the tiny gaps in the mesh. An entire reunion sometimes happens through nothing more than a fingertip. 65. Way out in the vast Pacific sits a lonely speck of land first claimed by an American telegraph company. Wake Island was little more than a remote atoll thousands of miles from the mainland, useful mainly for communication lines. Over time, the United States military recognized its
Probably going to stop
and turned it into an official outpost. This tiny dot of
clean it off a little
became
bit.
a genuine American base.
Gas station by there.
A telegraph company essentially handed the country a faraway island.
I'm gonna try to anyway. Fuck.
In certain Alaskan lakes, you can literally set the frozen surface on fire, which sounds like a campfire prank gone wrong. Beneath the winter ice, decaying plants release highly flammable methane gas.
Only about 5 minutes away.
Levels. When someone pokes a hole and brings a flame close, the escaping gas erupts into a blazing fireball. Scientists study these eerie methane pockets while thrill seekers light them up for fun. A lake that ignites with a single match feels deeply unnatural. 67. When the Confederacy came calling in 1861, one Tennessee county flatly refused to play along. Scott County voted to secede from the state entirely, rejecting the rebel cause and declaring itself an independent little republic. The county basically thumbed its nose at Tennessee and went its own stubborn way. The wildest part is the timing of the reunion. Scott County did not officially rejoin the state of Tennessee until 1986, more than a century after their dramatic protest. 68. A simple arithmetic mistake by a 19th century mapmaker left a permanent scar on the Texas border. While drawing the eastern boundary of New Mexico, the surveyor's bad math produced a jagged, staircase-like pattern instead of a clean line. The result is an unexplainable zigzag wobble that climbs awkwardly across the map forever. Nobody ever corrected the embarrassing stumble, so it remains stamped there today. Texas essentially has a crooked corner because someone could not do their numbers right. 69. There is exactly one spot in the entire country where a person can stand in 4 different states at once.
4 corners.
The 4 corners quadrupoint is where Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah all meet at a single precise intersection. Tourists love sprawling across the marker, planting one limb in each state for the ultimate photo. It is the only place in America where you can be in 4 places simultaneously without moving an inch. Geography basically created a human pretzel zone. 70. New Hampshire is home to a river that performs the strangest disappearing act in nature. The aptly named Lost River tumbles down a mountainside and then simply vanishes into the earth without warning. It dives into a chaotic underground labyrinth of giant tumbled boulders and hidden caves, weaving invisibly through the rock. Hikers can follow the water until it dramatically ducks out of sight. The river basically plays an endless game of hide and seek with everyone who visits. 71. In the quiet border town of Calais, Maine, there sits a courthouse with a genuinely hilarious flaw. The building stands so absurdly close to the Canadian boundary that the line practically brushes the windows. According to local legend, a clever criminal inside could theoretically be
closed the other day.
Instantly land
This
on
exit?
United States jurisdiction.
It's still
One good jump.
exit open. Okay, it's open now.
It remains the most
Although I'm not
sensitive
taking it
ever
because I'm going to
accidentally built
Kroger.
into a government building. And there you have it. 71 of the dumbest geographical anomalies that prove America.
Oh, he got out?
Was basically drawn by
I did not know that.
and occasionally drunk people. But now we want to hear from you. Which one absolutely broke your brain the most? Was it the town trapped inside?
You sure he got out or did he get moved?
Or the courthouse you could jump out of to escape the law?
Holy crap.
Drop your answer in the comments.
That's
We read
big
every
news.
single
I'm
one.
surprised I haven't heard
If
it
this video made you question everything you
on a
thought
lot of
you knew,
sites.
smash that like button and subscribe to Dumbest Things for more insane stories. We will see you in the next one.
That's the First Amendment activist Eric Brandt been released from prison. That's the First Amendment activist Eric Brandt been released from prison. That's the First Amendment activist Eric Brandt been released from prison. sure he's been released? I know Denver had to pay him a $65,000 settlement a couple of years ago. I don't see anything about him being released. I think he probably just got moved. Man, these fucking bugs are horrible. 2.5 miles and I get off. What president of Colorado is there? Yeah. Says he's still at the Delta Correctional Center, Delta, Colorado. Moved there because of good behavior. So, man, this fucking, my windshield is just coated. Hang on, let me switch.
I love it when there's responsibility taken on both sides for this, both the negative side and also the positive side of people fighting for freedom and people laying down their lives for it on both sides. Well, and I think that, well, you know, I'm sorry, Joe. Go ahead. I just had to chime in, Dave, because I want to give Joe those kudos, you know, because for him to make this part of his life work, to really stand up and be willing to be a carrier of the truth. And sometimes with the truth, you're attacked. And, you know, Joel has endured a great deal. Even prior to, you know, knowing me, we've known each other for many years, but he's endured a great deal just advocating for what's right. And I remember when we were driving one night, about 3 a.m. in the morning, trying to get to the St. Louis airport, and I asked Joe the question. I said, "Who would you be in history, Joe? If you had to be the embodiment of that individual, who would that person be?" And he said that person would be John Brown. And what that said to me, when you believe in something that you're willing to risk your life.
Kroger, water.
And when he said that to me, I said, "Okay, this is the guy that I need to that we need to finish this work with."
Closed at 11,
right?
so good.
Do that. But that just crystallized.
Clean this windshield before I get over there.
And even now, you know, with Joe and I, we have heard things. We've been attacked, you know, by the black community, by the white community, in some
Man, look at that windshield.
And so I just had to chime in and just really hit that point home.
And I paid $3.28 in Indiana for gas.
turn to chime in as the time always wins, as I like to say. The clock wins the show. But this has been amazing with both of you. Both Dr. Walter Milton Jr., you just heard from, and Dr. Joel Freeman, the co-authors of Black History 365, an inclusive account of American history as we celebrate freedom on Juneteenth, June 19th, Juneteenth, the shortened form, what is now a holiday and an important day. And as you've just learned, I hope much more in relationship to our history, our inclusive history as Americans. There's so much more I'll tell you about the project, as I have over the past years and in coming months and years for that matter. But for all of you listening, Black History 365 is simple to get to at bh365.org. A K through 12 curriculum, much more to come with the books for kindergartners and so much more. But go to the website. I encourage you to share it with others, share it with educators, especially with teachers, with students, with neighbors, family members, bh365.org.
The 2026 NBA Draft could transform the league. This NBA Draft is incredibly deep. Definitely the deepest in my mind since 2017. Hear every franchise-shaping decision on SiriusXM. Listen to NBA Radio for interviews with the top prospects and analysis throughout the week. There we go. Hear every selection of the NBA Draft on Channel 86 in the car and on the SiriusXM app. Imagine relying on a dozen different software programs to run your business, none of which are connected. And each one more expensive and more complicated than
Man, that washer fluid actually smells really good.
Now imagine Odoo has all the programs you'll ever need, and they're all connected on one platform, giving you peace of mind that your business is being taken care of from every angle. Odoo has user-friendly applications for
I don't know why it looks foggy out. It's not.
manufacturing, marketing,
Maybe it's just because I vape so much. Inside my windshield's a little bit foggy.
Odoo sounds pretty amazing, right? So stop depending on all those expensive, disconnected platforms and let Odoo
Grab. Wow, 433 at the Kroger here. That's nuts.
Sign up today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. Odoo, modern management made simple. He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin.
Got like 40 minutes before they're closed.
He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate mega stores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to Dick Durbin, paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
When emergencies happen, cell service.
Yeah, I'm going to run in real quick. I'll leave you guys on here.
Signals drop, and suddenly
Give me a minute.
reach the people who matter most. That's not just frustrating, it can be dangerous. Rapid radios are built for moments like that. These rugged, easy-to-use radios connect over a nationwide LTE network, helping you stay connected.
All right, I'll be right back.
Anywhere. With no contracts, no monthly fees, and no complicated stuff. Whether you're protecting your family at home, traveling off the grid, managing a job site, or preparing for severe weather, Rapid radios give you reliable communication when traditional networks fall short. Right now, you can save up to 60%, and every radio includes a full year of service. Be prepared before you need it. Go to rapidradios.com. That's rapidradios.com.
Mike Slater. This is the year we relearn our heritage, where we came from, our culture, history, our Christian faith, what it means to be American. Samuel Wales, right before the revolution, he said, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. He said, this is the course of nature, this is the voice of heaven, this is the decree of God. The 250th is a great time, perfect time to get connected back to our roots.
Breitbart News Daily with Mike Slater, weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern on SiriusXM Patriot. Freedom never gets old. This is SiriusXM Patriot. This is SiriusXM Patriot. 125.5. Welcome back to the David Webb Show special presentation of the history of Juneteenth on Sirius XM Patriot.
You know, sometimes the introduction writes itself. So let me share a path that has led us to where we are today. During COVID, for 20 weeks, I believe, give or take a week, you heard the series on BH365, Black History 365, an inclusive account of American history, co-authored by Dr. Walter Milton Jr. and Dr. Joel Freeman. Incredible as this body of work is, with all its complexity, the technology and the QR codes that lead you to further exploration, the fact that this is, while it's primarily written for K through 12 as a curriculum, it is really for everyone. As an adult, I learn so much more from this. And at whatever grade level, this is important because our history should be taught and should be taught younger, in my opinion, but we should also learn it no matter where we are and in what stage of life. This is an inclusive account of our history as Americans. And every single time I speak with Walter and Joel, and sometimes even off air in our conversations, or maybe even a text, I learn more. So, Walter, Joel, first let me say something on behalf of myself. Thank you. My audience, thank you. Because I love to be educated, and you've expanded so much in your work. So, guys, I got to throw a little bit of bragging rights at you and say, look, talk about where you are today, where you've gone, how you've advanced, the schools that have adopted this curriculum. And Walter, I'll start with you. I guess, Joel, we should defer to the former superintendent in this case. But take it away, Walter.
Well, if we can just start with the origins of some of the vicissitudes that we were enduring when we first started this journey. It was like a vision. First of all, I knew Joe was crazy like me when he said that I'm going to join you in this, because he was one of the only people that saw what I was saying that made sense. And we began to, do the work, going across the country, really trying to get people to understand this vision that we're going to create something like this. And I think people are looking at us a little sideways, like, are you guys okay? We had a dummy copy of a 36-page book. And then after those 36 pages was all white. And so people were like, man, how are you going to bring this to reality? But we knew that we were dedicated to this, and this became our number one priority in life, almost 3 years, that we were working 12 to 16-hour days. And so we understand coming from the bowels of nothingness to something, and we are humbly honored to say that we're in well over 200 school systems now. We have the largest school system in the United States of America, New York City Public Schools. We even have the state of Oregon that has adopted us, or given permission for school districts to adopt us in the state of Oregon. And we have Detroit Public Schools. We have so many large, small districts, urban districts, rural districts, suburban districts that see our work as relevant work. And our goal is to really tell this conversation, when it's all said and done, of the work and the connectivity throughout the entire diaspora that many people of all hues have made to making this world, or attempting to make this world, a much better place to be. And so I'm truly honored by that. Joel and I will be speaking on Monday in Maryland on Juneteenth, talking about similar conversations we're having today.
Well, Joel, that's quite a tip-off, and so you were a little crazy, huh?
Well, even our wives thought we were absolutely nuts, and absolutely right. and so it just the thing that we did is we tried to look at this through different lenses, different layers. And one of the things that we did early on was we put together a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we built a lot into the curriculum, kind of like wrapping it in some kind of Teflon, so that if anyone on the political left or the political right would want to raise the book and say this is the answer for whatever they think they need an answer for, we didn't want that. We didn't want this to be co-opted politically, because as Walter mentioned earlier, this is our love letter, not to just 50% of the country. It's a love letter, our love letter to the whole country, the whole world. And so, if you get into bed, metaphorically speaking, with one side of the political aisle, then the other side starts looking at you sideways. And so we just want this to be something. We're not above it in a prideful way, above the political stuff. We just want to be have a way to reach people of all ethnicities, all religions, all backgrounds, and that's why we have the subtitle, An Inclusive Account of American History. And four things that we're inviting people to is, number one, to become critical thinkers. Number two, to become compassionate listeners. Number three, to become fact-based, respectful communicators. And number four, it's built upon the first three, to become action-oriented solutionists. That's the schema. That's the process. That's the overview of how we can connect with uncomfortability. Is this whole book, this whole curriculum is about helping people of all ages, because it engages all ages and all walks of life, K through 12 and beyond, from K to grade, is to help people to come to uncomfortability without divisiveness, without vitriol, and to really listen to each other, to pry people loose from their echo chambers, from their, just the tribal thinking, if you will, and then to begin to discuss things. And we have a whole process called the elephant experience that Walter and I wrestled with. How are we going to do this? And that's the elephant experience is the way that we have devised to be able to bring this healing to the classrooms and beyond. And the response, when you're in a jar, David, you can't read the label. And now we're having superintendents and teachers and students and grandparents and people from all walks of life, all races, saying, wow, this is really informing me. But it's not just informing me, my head, but it's hitting my heart. And it's making me want to reach out beyond my comfort zones and to connect with people. So, and when we hear that, it just brings tears to our eyes, because this is what we're all about, is to bring this healing letter to the whole country.
One of the things that I love about this body of work is the QR codes, or are the QR codes, is the proper English there. My English teacher will probably have a word with me about that, Jensen. Walter, please feel free to correct me. But most, and I'm thinking back to the books I had, whether, whatever subject, they were closed. Technology was different when I was in school, obviously, but still today, the fact that you expand beyond the pages, between the covers, and give the reader, the teacher for that matter, something to expand with the student, to go out and look more. And I love that component of what you've done. So where did the QR codes come from? Which one of you, both of you, how did that develop?
Well, one of the things that one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we had a strong integration of technology. And so we discussed it, and we said that we're going to embed technology. We know that if we would have kept writing, this book probably would have been about 4,000 pages, believe it or not. So we wanted to have a way to have integration of technology, music, all embedded in the book. And so as a collective body, we knew that the QR codes would be a good route to go. We were one of the first textbooks to offer something like that. And then we also made history amongst ourselves, being a white and black author, to come along and do something of this ilk. But the goal, to answer that question, Dave, we wanted to make sure that we had a strong integration of technology. And the way that we can embed technology besides our ebooks was to have the infusion of the QR codes.
You know, Joel, curiosity comes to mind. And curiosity leads you further as we as people, as human beings. And that's what education really was for me. Speaking for myself, curious about the subject. You know, I was that kid that was like, okay, I got that part and we're finished, but is there more to this? And when I work and learn, and I think I could probably have used this in high school even more, but I'm glad it's out there now. With BH365, I get more curious. I'm having conversations with other people, Joel, about things I have never thought of before in my life. A friend recently told me that she did one of the 23andMe type things and found out she was 10% from Benin, Africa. And suddenly I had something to tell her about food and watermelon and slavery. You know, curiosity has led me to learn things.
It's beautiful, because the thing about curiosity, I guess we've all heard the purpose-driven life. Walter and I like to live the curiosity-driven life. What's going to happen around the next corner, around the next bend? And as we were writing this, it was almost like watching a movie. We weren't sure. I mean, we had certainly, we're going to be talking about Civil War, okay? We're going to be talking about sports. We're going to be talking about ancient African history. But how to fill those pages, it was an amazing, like writing a novel. It was appearing before us. I'm sure Walter is too. Maybe you are too, David. I'm more of a tactile. I can listen to someone give a speech and maybe walk away with 2 or 3 bright ideas. But when I'm actually getting dirt under my fingernails and researching and, the collection that my wife and I have, about 1/5 of the images are from the collection, images people have never seen before. I love history. I didn't like history when I was in high school. I cheated when I was to pass something. I'm not happy to say that. But that was
Ended up having to grab a small cart.
Then later on, when my life turned around and I began to do investigation in history, to be able to hold a letter in my hand that Frederick Douglass actually held. He actually penned the words. He actually wrote the words. And thought, his head was over that page, that piece of paper. There's something about that really impacted me, and that's we wanted to kind of do that.
All right. Woo.
A lot of these pieces are in there, and if people are punched over the book and looking at it, to maybe have the same type experience of
Yeah, Stouffer's. I add a little bit more cheese to it. We're going to pre-bake it a little bit. I got a little charcuterie too.
And the reason is this. I mentioned the website earlier, and there's so much more there. I remember the day.
Oh, a little copper there. Look at that.
Okay, you created it, so I'm just going to say when I began this with you, and we brought it to the audience, I would walk through all the things you've done and expanded. The successes and give people, as you're both educators and you're educating me certainly, what is there on the BH365.org website and what others can do to participate in this, because this learning process I think is crucial to all of us in society, all of us as Americans, and I would say this, beyond the borders of this country, our history should be taught accurately, and I think will help so many people when you think of all the people that want to come to America for who we are as a nation. And we're a who, not a what. We're made up of people. We are a thriving, living organism. And this matters. It matters to me personally, professionally, and I think it should matter to everyone out there. BH365.org is the website. Dr. Walter Milton Jr., Dr. Joel Freeman, or this Walter and Joel with this audience. I'll be right back. The U.S. Open is on Sirius XM. This is really good. It's going right towards the hole. It's in. Exclusive coverage of Shinnecock Hills Golf Club continues tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Hey, one of the most incredible rounds of U.S. Open history. And it goes in. A couple of hops and boom. That's an eagle. U.S. Open Radio. Channel 92 in the car. Sirius XM.
Phone's stuck underneath the groceries here from you.
The U.S. Open.
Available in all states, must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary. Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program may only have to pay back a mere fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it could end your debt nightmare and save you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. For free information and to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, simply go online and visit DRA.com or call 800-474-1811. 800-474-1811.
Antifa goons attacking courts, now upset that they had their co-conspirators indicted with multiple criminal charges. You see, the DOJ posted this announcement and they sprung right into action. Here's a screen grab of a few of the conspirators, all seen here. In total, it was 15 members of the Direct Action Minnesota Network, a group called DAM, all now charged in federal court. And this was posted by the DOJ, but immediately after the arrests occurred, what did they do? Well, exactly what you would expect. This guy was on scene.
I won't use that one anymore.
Shout out. And
it got bought out.
Donald Trump for President 24
by a different company. We go to the nicer one, Brandy's.
Provocateur, which many of us
sure we got the lead.
And he said he was there
Myers lease from.
Out of St. Paul, Minnesota, where a lot of the
they switched names. It used to be a nice hometown dealership. Now it's not. Basically a franchise dealership now.
Chaos and unrest erupt outside the federal courthouse in St. Paul. Supporters of arrested Antifa agitators gathered during court proceedings. The ICE officers and federal agents were standing their ground, taking a no-nonsense approach to anyone attempting to breach the security perimeter. And it was madness and chaos out there. Here is an excerpt you can see from the scene, and agents popping out of the front door here, blasting people in the face with pepper spray.
That's where I bought this Maverick from, but I won't get it serviced there. I'm going to the other one.
Bad language, apologies. Yes, so trying to insurge the federal courthouse. And you're not seeing this anywhere on the media. It is a full-blown attack to get into the building to go free their compatriots. And here's more. Lunatics. Fuck you! All right, so little profanity here today. We'll make sure the swear jar is filled up. But bad scenes out there. And Andy No also had another angle. He was also reporting on this. He said